Hello, Bridget Bartlett here. Today, I am going to show you the new option that we have available inside of High Level to send estimates. So, for those of you who have been following me for a while, you know that I used to have a lawn care business. I was actually able to retire my husband at the age of 50. But sending estimates was a huge part of our business. And it was something that really made me focus on a way to automate because if you're starting a service-based business, especially something like a lawn care business, it can be so time consuming. So I was trying to work, all day as a pharmacy technician in a hospital. And then I would also be trying to do double duty and send estimates for our lawn care business for my husband, who was actually out in the field. So this can be such a time consuming process. I'm going to walk you through this because now we do have this option here. So, before we had like estimates, it actually was like proposals, but estimates are different from proposals, which are now called contracts and documents, because really estimates are just line items and proposals are more they have usually have graphics and things like that, and basically they're really pretty. It's kind of like a document sales type thing. So what we want to do is actually just send an estimate. So let's pretend that we are a lawn care business, and the first step that we want, actually the first step, is to go ahead and go to our settings here, and this is for all of the payments. Okay, so you'll see here that it'll automatically, you have your logo here, your business name, phone number, brand, all of those things. You can configure your email settings here. So where do you want the email coming from, and the name and the email, of course. And then you also have the title and the terms. So this would be for the estimate. This is for the invoice. And for example, your terms here, maybe for your estimate, we would say these prices are just estimated, and the final price may vary depending on time and materials needed to complete the job that was not um, foreseen, or something like that. Okay, everybody has a different business type here. The thing that I want to make sure to drive home here, though, when we're talking about estimates specifically, is the purpose of an estimate is for us to, whereas an invoice is like the final price they're paying, right? An estimate is basically saying, like in a lawn care business, for example, we would say, look online at their property and then see the price that we would charge, and we would tell them this is just an estimate, because if we get to the property and we discover that maybe the Google image was way off, or since Google did their image or whatever, that they have, done some landscaping which covered most of the lawn. It could be more or less, right? So that's really the purpose of an estimate, is we just want to give them an idea of the price that it would cost, because we also, it's, with an estimate, we're also saying, hey, these prices may vary depending on whatever issue. You could be doing web design and saying these prices are just estimated because maybe they have additional products that they want to charge, something like that. But really, for service-based businesses, estimates are obviously used more, and definitely the most valuable thing that you can do to, one, save yourself time, but also to kind of put a safety net in place in case there are unforeseen issues, right? So you want to choose your title and terms and all that. Of course, this is for the invoice option here, and we're just talking about estimates today. So I'm just going to type that in and save it. You also have your payment settings. And here you're basically saying the estimate is going to expire after how many days. Now, you definitely want to give an expiration date for your estimates, because prices vary. You may offer a different package next month, or maybe you have given them a promotional offer, and that expires. Or in the case of a lawn care business, maybe you have a certain price for early spring. And then, if they contact you in June, maybe you're really busy in June and this price is going to go up, right? If it's the beginning of the season and, you're trying to get all of your schedule basically filled for the season, then you definitely want to have this, because in June you might not even be taking customers in June. Or um, if you have limited spots in your schedule, you definitely will be raising your prices. So that's typically how we did it there. So you want to definitely give an estimate there. And then here we're going to choose like what is the prefix of our estimate. So like basically EST estimate, right? How long is the invoice due after a certain amount of days? You can choose that. And of course, that is for invoices. Do you want to allow partial payments? Do you want to charge late fees? And do you want to allow tips? Now, it is shocking how many times this was. I mean, we would have customers leave us tips all the time. Okay. And when, of course, if you don't have a tip option, then they're not going to be able to leave you tips. So I do love this. Of course, this is not really relevant for an estimate, but we do have the option to leave tips. So that's a really cool thing. If you do have that capability, you definitely want to utilize that. We also have the product settings. So, do we need to import a description? We can do that, but again, that's really just for invoices. Reminder settings here. We can choose the reminders. We also can add custom fields if we want to our invoices and estimates. And then here you want to choose your customer notifications. So the email that gets sent when an invoice is received or an estimate is received. Okay. Now you can edit these. You can see I have lots of templates in this demo account. So if I went over to the marketing tab and created a template, I could just select it there. Of course, you have email templates and you have the SMS templates, and then you have the subject line of the email that's going to be sent. And if you did want to use some custom values and say, hey, Bob, here's your invoice, you could, of course, do that. So you have the estimate received, invoice payment successful, invoice payment failed. You have auto payment information, auto payment failed. And once you get all of those set, of course, you're going to click save. Okay. And then that's for the customer, but you also have the ability to set your team notifications. So when an invoice payment is successful, this is, of course, the email that's going to go out. This is the subject line. If you don't want any of these emails to be sent out, you just toggle this off. Okay. So invoice payment failed, auto payment failed, auto payment skipped, the invoice could not be sent, estimate accepted successfully, and then estimate declined successfully. Okay. So let's go back here now. Let's go ahead and create our products. So here, one of the examples that we used a lot would be, let's just say, lawn mowing. Okay. So we will mow, trim, and blow all of the um, lawn areas, or whatever you want to say. Okay. Of course, we could add an image or even a video if we want to. We could add enable product label or product collection. A lot of this stuff is for like e-commerce. So we'll go ahead and skip through there. We can say one time or reoccurring, and it really just depends on how you're structuring your services. So let's say we'll just keep this as one time, and let's say $65. And then we'll go ahead and just save. Okay, so we have that lawn mowing, that's $65. All right, now let's go back and let's create another one. Okay, so another one would be, let's say, leaf removal. Okay, we're almost coming to the fall where we would have been doing leaf removal. And this is also something why it's really important to do an estimate, because you don't really know how long it's going to take you. But if you're doing leaf removal, you should know about how long it's going to take you, your materials needed, things like that. Okay, so let's say we will let's say we will bag and remove all leaves on property, um, all leaves on property whatever you want to say after that. Okay. So we will bag and remove. Now, this is important though when you are establishing what you're actually going to do for leaf removal, because you may mulch the leaves, right? And you may bag them and then make them, leave them for their leaf removal company or maybe their heavy trash pickup. You definitely want to be clear, crystal clear when you are saying what you are going to do for leaf removal. Okay, so I know we're talking about lawn care, but this could be any business. You want to be very, very specific what is expected here. I always talk about the time when we did let's go ahead and we'll go through this. Let's say one time $300. Okay, so safe. There was a time when we did bush removal for a customer, and they were under the impression that we would remove the root, and we were not clear. So I'll use this as an example. Remove bushes, okay? So we thought, for us, bush removal meant cutting off at the stump, okay? But to this customer, bush removal meant removing the entire bush and the root and everything, okay? So we want to make this very clear because we ended up doing that job for nothing. So in this case, we would say we will remove the um, bushes. We will remove the bushes, and we'll definitely want to say, like, how many or whatever. We'll remove the bushes at the stump, excluding the root below ground. We will also dispose of all green waste. Okay. So that's us saying we're going to cut the bush off and we're going to take it with us. Okay. That's basically what we're saying here. All right. So moving on down here, let's say that this is a one-time price of, let's say, $200. Okay. And save. All right, so now we have built all of our products in here. And again, this is such an important part right here because you want to be crystal clear what you're doing. Now, when you've built out all of your products and services that you're providing, now this makes the estimate process super simple. Okay, so I'm going to go now to estimates. And just FYI, this will be available in the mobile app in a couple weeks, but right now you can only do this from the dashboard. So this will be really nice for businesses that actually go on location and they want to just quickly send an estimate from their phone, and then you can send it and then all is good, right? You don't have to like come back to the office and think about it. And the goal is, you want to systematize your services like this so that you can say, okay, I'm at the property and this is what we're going to do today, or this is what we're going to provide, and all of your prices, you don't really have to think about that at that point, right? So let's build this out for Jane Doe, who's requested some lawn care services, and we're going to click here. And again, we want to choose the estimate number. So it's estimate EST hyphen, like we saw in the settings there. But instead, let's just add like some numbers here because we don't want them to think that they're the first estimate we've ever done, right? And then, of course, we want to have the date here. So we're going to issue the date, and then we're going to say it expires here. Now, this is 14 days, and it's setting these dates automatically based on our settings that we just went through. So how long do we want the estimate to be good for? Okay, so we're choosing the estimate valid dates. And now we want to choose our products. Okay, so remember, now let's pretend we are talking to the customer, or we've just gotten back to the office and we want to send them an estimate. So I'm going to say, remove bushes. Now let's say it's $200 per bush. Okay, now that would be extraordinary, but let's say that we have 5 bushes that we want to remove. So we're just going to add 5 there. Okay, so now we know, if we have already established that every time we remove one single bush, we are going to have to charge $200 because taxes, maybe we have people working for us, or we have a dump fee that we need to pay when we actually get rid of the bushes. And so we have established at this point, just for example, that one bush is $200. So if we have a property now that is going to cost us or it's 5 bushes, we know immediately that our price has to be $1,000. Okay. This takes so much out of the time when you have this type of knowledge. Okay. Now, let's say here we are going to be mowing the lawn. Obviously, they only have one lawn, so we're just going to leave that at one. And then let's say here that we're also going to do leaf removal. And let's say, for example, that we know that every 10,000 square feet of a property, it's going to cost us $300, or we're going to have to charge $300. And let's say now we go to this property and their property is 20,000. So let's go ahead and make this 2. And so now we already know just by looking at our products here that because they have 5 bushes and because they have one lawn and because that they have 20,000 square feet in their property, that this is what we need to charge. Okay. So we've already thought about this. It makes this super, super easy to go ahead and add that there. Now, of course, we have these additional terms and it's already checked here because we set that in the settings. So we don't have to create that every time. And of course, once you have built all of this out, you can see that it's going to put the customer's info here, your logo here, all of your business data here at the top. Have the estimate number, the issue date, the expiration date, and then all of these line items that you can see here. Now, I will say sometimes people don't like to see the quantity here or the individual prices. Sometimes it's good to have that though, because they may say, okay, removing the bushes is $1,000. Let's go ahead and we'll wait on that. And then we'll just go ahead and do the lawn mowing and the leaf removal. So you definitely want to be mindful of that, because also if you're doing, one of the mistakes that we made is we would put green waste removal as a standalone item. And they would say, "Oh, well, we'll just remove it for you, so we don't have to pay for it." But then they were always upset because they were left with this big pile of like green, bushes and things like that, that they did not want to have to deal with. Okay. So always, always, always keep all of those things in mind when you are creating your estimates, because this is basically, these prices are the template of the services that you're providing. Okay. So once you have created your estimate here, we're going to go ahead and click send, and you can give your estimate a name, which maybe this would be like Jane Doe. You would definitely probably spell that right. And then we could choose, do we want to send this estimate email and text? I highly recommend the email and text if you have their phone number, which you should if you're getting estimates, because sometimes emails end up in the spam folder. Sometimes they just don't notice it. And so if you're sending an email and a text, then you're more likely to capture their attention, right? In this case, I'm just going to click email though, because I don't have a phone number for this example contact. You could also CC or BCC someone if you need that. And then you can choose, do I want estimate mode live or in test? So I'm doing this as a test. So I'm just going to leave that as test and then click send. So now I have sent that estimate, and you'll see that it says sent here. I could go back and edit. I could also get the copy, or I could just delete it. And when we look at this here, you'll see the email that was sent from this account. You'll see kind of what it looks like. And then to accept the estimate, they just need to click there. It opens up a window where they can reject or they can accept the estimate. So once they have accepted, we can just go ahead and do that here. We'll go ahead and be Jane Doe and accept the estimate. Now it says you've fully accepted the estimate. And then, of course, if we refresh the screen, we will see that the estimate now says approval. So at this point, what we'd want to do is provide the service and then send them the invoice, because that's really the purpose of the estimate. Or we would, in our example for the lawn care business, once they accepted the estimate, what we would do is then send them a card or a link to store their payment information. And then we would go to the property, provide the service, and then automatically charge their card on file. Okay. The last thing we want to do is be bill collectors. So that's why we definitely like to have a payment method on file before we actually provide the service so that we can automatically charge their card. Okay. This is so super cool that we can send these estimates inside of High Level. We don't need additional software to be able to do that. It just makes everything so much easier for us and to be able to streamline our processes. So if you are not a member of High Level yet, you can go to, and I'm so sorry that I have the wrong little thing up here. So it is actually My Vision Agency. Okay, right up here, myvisionagency.com. If you go there, you will see that you actually have several options here. Let me go to the real My Vision Agency. You'll see here that you can join, actually save hundreds of dollars just by using the software that we have. And then you can also join our reseller program. Most people want to be software resellers. So you can see that we do provide you white label AI ads licenses so that you can white label your own account of Play. We are black label resellers of Play, so this is directly through them. You also have the ability to get a user account of our Vision Social Autopilot, our Vision Content AI. You do get coaching 5 days a week. You can see all of our other 5-star reviews there. And you can see your plans here. If you do not have a High Level account, you can choose this option. This does take you to High Level. You can choose a free 30-day trial, which does also include a boot camp and a free starter plan in our agency. You could also upgrade to SaaS, and that does include a free starter plan in our agency as well. So if I go back here, you can see the details of the starter plan here, which is 5 AI ads licenses, our done for you system, the white label support for you and your clients for the AI ads. You get our coaching, the social autopilot, and the Vision Content AI. That's the exact same plan here. So if you cannot upgrade in your High Level account because you're already on SaaS, or you're not interested in SaaS because you don't really need it, you can sign up directly to our program by choosing one of these plans here. Okay, so that is highlevel.myvisionagency.com for the reseller plan. Thank you all so much for joining me, and I will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Go make your vision a reality. Bye. Thank you so much for joining us for today's training. If you have any questions, you can join us for open office hours starting right now at bridgetbartlett.com. It's free and open to everyone, so I'll see you there.